welcome to another episode of the Bungee Beat. But folks, stop right there. Most importantly, I'm well, you but, which of course is a standard Bungee Bungi greeting. You're, of course, with your host, Alexandria Anthony. And in today's episode of the Bungee Beat, and this is a statement that I truly, truly believe, Bungee is truly a contact tongue of the fur trade. And you're going to understand that more as we get through this segment. And also, I've had the great privilege and the honor, really, to be born and raised in Selkirk, Manitoba. And as a child, hearing the Bungee, the Red River dialect, it really sort of made a lasting impression on me. And as I age and as I get older, I think it's so very, very important as a Red River Métis to really share, promote, and preserve this very distinct, just like Métis are distinct, this dialect is distinct. It's part of who we are as Métis. But also, there's several alternative names for Bungee, and let's cover those right now. Of course, Bungee, Bungi, Bangay, and my favorite, their Red River dialect. And it is thought that the word Bungee itself is probably of Ojibwe origins from the word penke, meaning a little or a portion of something. And you're probably sitting there scratching your head and listening to this. Why does Bungee matter? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Bungee is one of the first truly Canadian contact dialects emerging not in classrooms, folks, but on the fur trade routes and during bison and buffalo hunts, and of course, found around campfires. And I can tell you, folks, I love a good campfire. It truly embodies linguistic survival, adaptability, and culture blending. And it is a living legacy that was shaped by Metis, Cree, Ojibwe, Scottish, French, and Orkney roots. And did you know, folks, many Metis Bungee speakers, they served as interpreters, guides, and diplomats. And their words truly bridged worlds, shaping treaties, trade, and relations across language divides. And Bungi really blended English with Cree, Soto, Gaelic, and Scots with French, making it a true dialect. And this is my favorite part, and it makes total sense, a true dialect of contact and cooperation. We have the two C's. It also can be said that Bungee, often spoken by English speaking Métis, truly emerged as a very distinctive dialect in the Red River settlement of Manitoba during the 19th century. And picture this, just like the woven threads of our proud Métis sash, our Métis culture, heritage, and languages, they bind us and they weave us together and truly help us to maintain very strong ties to our past and our Métis ancestors. And you're probably thinking, what does the word dialect mean? And simply, dialect means it is a form of a language that people speak in a particular part of a country, or simply put, a regional dialect. And that being said, Bungee is a unique form of English found only on the Canadian prairies, something to be proud of. Scottish Métis, of course, in present day Manitoba. And the vocabulary and word order of Bungee were primarily English, but the speech was like that of Gaelic speakers. And Bungee also, they borrow words and structures directly from Cree and Soto languages. Like Michif, Bungi makes no distinction between masculine and feminine third person singular pronouns. And Bungi has also been described as post Creole. And you're probably thinking or scratching your head, what does Creole or post Creole have to do with the Metis language, Metis dialect, or First Nation language? Well, I'm going to get right into that. And simply put, folks, Creole is born when two different languages combine to form another language, and it also can be called a mixed language. So, the most notable particularity of Bungee, and the first one is its sound system, and secondly, its pronunciation. And Bungee was spoken with a very distinctive rhythm with a Gaelic fall. And Bungee speakers have also reported that Bungee uses Cree vowels and Scots consonants. And it also, and this is kind of important, and I think why we have to really share and preserve it. It has been said that possibly the social prejudice of the day towards Bungee speakers and the very sensitive linguistic environment truly ultimately led to the virtual extinction of this dialect. And Bungee is also considered one of three contact languages along with Michif and Chinook Jarden. And Bungee, the Red River dialect, truly, in my mind, remains a very intimate part of Métis culture and Métis history. And on a historical note, folks, the word bungee, first occurred in York Factory journals in the year 1741 in a reference to the various bands of Indians visiting the fort. And the reference for this is Stobie 1978, 1974. So without further ado, folks, and if you know me, you know me, my favorite part of any Bungee beat show is talk bungee to me. Let's get right into some bungee. And this is from the Red River North Heritage. And this is Rachel Bunn telling the story of how her husband, Thomas Bunn, who built a stone house known as Victoria Cottage, which is now a historic site. So let's talk some bungee. Oh, I just down the road, along the river. Me Thomas thar built my hoose so solid he built it. 'Twill overstand forever, I'm thinking, sir, as me name is Rachel Bunn. Samuel Taylor put a handle on it in 62, see. Every morning back and forth he come across from the stone fort. He worked thar, but he built the English sarts, on the cross side. Long-headed is my Thomas Bunn is long-headed. Me who's mind these walls are stone and 3 foot thick, I's tired of the flutist. I so calm this river's being no don't be fool. Come sprink these rivers, he's a very wicked. Up south in Kildone, and don't that river nigh on took over housing the big flood of 52. Man, a people lost everything. Oh, my heart ached. We fled many miles to the pains and had a sweet time. Mine thanks to my Thomas Bunn, fine and comfortable we are, Sadnian 7 foot nigh from the river, will not flat air. Very, very informative and perspective, of course, from Rachel Bunn telling the story, of course, of how her husband, Thomas Bunn, built a stone house, and talking about, of course, the big flue de feftetu. So it's also interesting to note, and from historical references, it has been thought that it would be more than certain, and certainly in my mind, that the Manitoba Métis Premier, John Norquay, would have spoken, been familiar, of course, with Bungee. And there's also some train of thought that when he entered the political arena, it was suggested to John Norquay that it probably wouldn't be a good idea that he keep speaking Bungee, the Red River dialect, if he wanted to continue in Manitoba politics. And that goes into the sort of discrimination of the times. And it's so important to me. And I have huge moccasins to try and fill. And I've got to adjust my Métis sash here because we have to make reference to the very critical scholarship and documentation of Bungee, the Red River dialect, in the past. These individuals were so important, breaking ground in regards to Bungee, Bungi, the Red River dialect. And of course, they are Elaine Blaine. My favorite, of course, is Frank J. Walters, Margaret Stobie, Osborne Scott, and Elaine Gold, who I had a great privilege to interview on a segment of the Bungee Beat. And for me, folks, as a very proud Red River Métis, I'm really trying to carry the Bungee torch forward to ensure that this contact dialect is shared, celebrated, preserved for our future generations. Part of who we are as Métis people is we have to celebrate, we have to remember, we have to tell our stories, we have to engage and preserve our stories. We have to take the colonial ism really out of our stories and take ownership of who we are as Métis people. And it would be without a shadow of a doubt, and certain in my mind, folks, that my great 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 grandfather, being of course Cuthbert Grant Sr., would have been, who had arriving in which is now Canada from Scotland, and he would have been completely fluent in Gaelic. And being a Nor'wester, it would be more than probable that he may have been familiar or even spoken Bungee as a key player in the Canadian fur trade and going through Athabasca and all these areas, building and managing fur trade posts. So, in my mind, the statement of saying that Bungee is a contact tongue of the fur trade is absolutely 100% true, because you have to understand that when individuals came from Scotland, France, or what have you to be involved in the Canadian fur trade, they had to adapt. They had to become, they had to evolve. They had to coexist with the First Nation people that were already here. So, of course, dialects develop with taking words from English, Gaelic, French, Soto, Cree, all of these things come to form. It's just like you're making a batch of your favorite bannock. You have to have key ingredients. If you don't have the ingredients, your bannock is going to flop and you're not going to make a good bannock. So really, Bungee, Bungi, the Red River dialect, is part of a perfect storm of the combination of two cultures, various cultures coming together to make, the greatest bannock in the world, coming together to evolve, to coexist. And I think that's absolutely brilliant. And like I said, I have huge moccasins to try and fill to really preserve, share, and celebrate Bungee, Bungi, the Red River dialect. And I want to say thoughts and prayers. This has really bothered me as, born and bred in Manitoba. Thoughts and prayers to everybody involved in these horrific wildfires in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. And if you can reach out, if you can help and assist, please do that. It's just very catastrophic times, and my heart goes out to all the wildlife out there trying to escape these wildfires. And you know what, folks? Métis people are known for our kinship and community and coming together when there's an event, a horrific event. So that's what Métis people are known for. So if you can lend a hand and help, please do so. And as well, Marseille, to every one of you out there for the tremendous support and joining me on this very important journey to help share, promote, and preserve Bungi, the Red River dialect. It's so very important, and I'm grateful to each and every one of you out there. So, folks, until next time, please keep safe during these uncertain times. And again, if you can help with the wildfires, please do. And most of all, take care of yourself and take care of each other.